Hello, and you're welcome to yet another edition of My Opinion on Cleveland TV. My name is Frank Kalide Mudia, and as usual, I like to encourage you to keep signing up on www.cleveland.com. Thank you. My guest this afternoon is Chief Barrister Jeff Azubuike, and we'll be discussing Ohaneze in South Africa. Barrister, hello, Barrister.
Good day. How are you, ma'am?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm okay.
Yeah, you're welcome to My Opinion this morning.
Thank you. It's nice having me.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would like us to start, and in this regard, I'd like you to just tell us about yourself. Who is Barrister Jeff or Chief Barrister Jeff Azubuike?
Thank you again for having me on your program. Chief Barrister Jeff Azubuike is a Nigerian, an Igbo by tribe. I am married with children. I am currently located in South Africa, where my practice is for the time being. Thank you so much.
Is that right? All right, you've been in South Africa for a long time, I guess.
For about 20 years, I've been in South Africa.
Yeah, that's a long time. So how has he been practicing law in South Africa?
Nothing is easy. It has not been easy, especially as a foreigner here in South Africa. But I'm glad that some of us have been able to find our way into the legal profession here in South Africa. And we are trying to eke out living for ourselves and our household. South Africa have a very wonderful legal system, and we are able to get into it, even though we come from a very different cultural background.
So that you are actually you are a legal practitioner, and there are people that are not as fortunate as you in that place as well. If you agree with me, now with what we've been hearing recently about an Operation Dudula, how have you been able to cope in such a scenario?
Thank you for this question. It is an opportunity for me to shed light on this organization of Operation Dudula. This movement was actually formed by one Ntlantla Lax Dlamini, a South African, who has been piloting the affairs of the organization for barely 1 year now. It is a splinter group from the Put South African First movement. And as the name implies, Dudula is a native Zulu name. It's a native Zulu word meaning to force out or to knock down. As the name implies, their cardinal objective is to force out every foreigner in South Africa. And if you refuse to be forced out, you be knocked down. It is a populist organization. Hence, the current stand of theirs regarding foreigners, immigrants, especially Black African migrants here. It started in Soweto, and it has spread to all the provinces, all the 9 provinces in South Africa. It has spread across all the 9 provinces. If you can recall, you find out that most of the major violent, serious uprisings that ever took place in South Africa, dating via the apartheid era, normally they start in Soweto. And that is where this Operation Dudula was launched, in Soweto. Fortunately, unfortunately, though very disappointedly, the man that found founded Operation Dudula, that is in Lot, Lamini. He's an air pilot. He trained as a pilot, so he's well educated, highly educated. And there are other elites, South African elites, that have bought into his ideology of forcefully sending foreigners out of their country. And South Africa, like every other country in the world, they are struggling with unemployment. The level of unemployment in South Africa is about 28-29%. Hence, he easily found willing tools in the unemployed youth. But that is no justification for criminality and the acts of vigilantism which they have been operating under. What made it so bad is that when these guys go out on the streets to demonstrate and to do their thing, to kill, to maim, to destroy foreign-owned property, you see the members of the South African police service, that is South African police, following them, escorting them, marching through the convoy, through the towns, through the streets, destroying people's property, just giving them cover while they do their things. Initially, when they started, most foreigners regrouped to retaliate or to stop them from destroying their property. But unfortunately, you find out that the police are behind them, with them physically behind them, watching them do whatever they want to do, and even arresting any foreigner that attempts to, protect his property or to fight back. So this is a kind of state-sponsored vigilante. That is one aspect.
Wow.
The other aspect of it is that, ironically, the victims of this operation, Didul operation, movement, are mostly Black African migrants. They don't attack Asians, Chinese, Indian-owned businesses, or even Arab. Their main target are foreigners who are African. Thank you so much.
So you can go on, sir.
Should I go on?
Yeah, you can go on, sir. You can go on, please.
All right. Thank you so much. That's interruption. I should go ahead, ma'am.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much, sir. I'll be with you shortly, but we'll take a short break here, and when we come back, you are going to continue with the explanation of the effect of Operation Dudula in South Africa.
Let's sell on your behalf. If your item sells on our web shop, you pay a 10% commission plus the transaction fees, and you get the rest. Register now at www.shop.clevenard.com. Start uploading your product and services. We can really sell it on your behalf so you can carry on working on the things important to you. Are you looking to sell any type of product or service and you want to avoid the hassle involved? Selling can be an arduous and time-consuming process. At Clevenard Super Shop, we will be happy to take over the workload of promoting or selling your products or services. All you need to do is to register at www.shop.clevenard.com, enter your shop or vendor information, and then start uploading your product and services. We will do the selling. Now, be ready to get more sales and awareness. Start making more money from your business with Clevenard Super Shop by partnering with us today.
My opinion, and we are still with Barrister Jeff Azubuike. Before we went to the short break, we were trying to explain the effects of Operation Dudula on Nigerians in South Africa. So, Barrister, you said one or two things, and with what you've explained, it's obvious that Nigerians out there are not really finding it easy. Okay, now, as a legal practitioner, has there been ways which you have been able to affect one or two lives in South Africa?
Thank you again, my host. Let me just chip in one or two things that I was trying to explain before we went on break. South Africa, as a country, have one of the best constitutions and human rights protected legislations in the world, following on the records of Canada and then United States of America. But in practice, their human rights record, when it comes to foreigners living in South Africa, is nothing but shambolic. In practice, South Africa is one of the most hostile countries, actually, that migrant Africans live in for a number of reasons. So this double standard in the application of the human rights, a human rights system is very suspect. So to end the discussion about Dudula, if I may say, the Dudula movement has official backing from the government of South Africa. Now, with regard to your second question, how we've been assisting them, we have, as much as possible, try to assist the victims of Operation Dudula movement. One thing you should remember is that this is a vigilante operation, and South African laws or legislation makes it a bit difficult to hold people who have taken permission from the Metropolitan Police to, gather, to demonstrate. Whatever they do during that period, I think most of the time they don't get prosecuted. Otherwise, we have 1,001 reasons why the progenitor of this Dudula movement, Lantla Locke, have been locked behind bars so many months ago when he started this thing. Well, coming back to your question, most of the assistance that we give to Nigerians and other African migrants that are caught in the web of these destructive practices of Dudula, we give them some kind of counseling, and after effect, we try to help them take stock of their losses. And I have personally written over a dozen motivations for the government to pay reparation, to compensate the victims of this dastardly act of the Dudula people. But to date, no member of the Dudula movement has been completely prosecuted, and the government has not paid any compensation to the victims of this mass destruction. So you can see it is the duty of the South African Police Service to prosecute. We as legal practitioners here in South Africa, we only come in to give them counseling, to advise them, and to give motivation to whatever claims that they have with regards to the destructions that they have suffered. But till date, since xenophobia started in South Africa in 2006, it has been a recurring decimal every year, sometimes twice every year. Twice in a year it comes up. We've tried to take stock, make inventories of the losses suffered by our people, and send them to the government. But till date, no reparations, no compensations have been given to our people. Thank you.
It's all right. It's such a hostile environment. How safe are people there?
How safe are people? They will say nowhere is safe in the world, even under the sun. But then the level of insecurity in South Africa is getting to the tip. Mainly because of the human rights application here in South Africa. When a criminal is arrested in South Africa, irrespective of the crime you committed, you have 48 hours to bring that person to court. and he has every right of bail. Having that, the criminals having that at the back of their mind, they explore that human right posture of the country, and then they commit whatever offenses, crime they could, knowing that in the next 48 hours they are out of the jail. They are walking freely again on the streets. So South Africa, especially to foreigners, it's quite a heaven, of crime victimization. They victimize foreigners. In fact, like some countries, for example, where we come from in Nigeria, most criminals there, they target rich people. They want to steal things that will make them rich. I'm not making any excuses for them. But here in South Africa, somebody can actually lose his life or be attacked for using the cheapest phone you can think of. Maybe a phone that you can buy for 200 rands. That's the equivalent of about 6,000 naira. Somebody can be killed just to get his phone from him. So that is the level of insecurity and crime here in South Africa.
That's all right. Okay, now let's get down to the topic proper. The Ohaneze Indigo. Is that what is Ohaneze? What is the association all about?
Ohaneze Indigo is an apex Igbo socio-cultural organization in South Africa. That is the mainstream socio-cultural organization here. It has been in existence for barely over 2 decades, about 21, 22 years. Our main purpose and aim is to, to unify our people. An Igbo man, they say, moves around with his culture. We like to make everywhere we get to as comfortable as possible, that we try to replicate whatsoever cultural activities that we have at home. We try to replicate it wherever we go as Igbo. South Africa is not an exception. We try to make our people feel as much at home as possible by bringing in our culture here. And all the Igbo-speaking states in Nigeria that are represented here in South Africa, you are frontline major Igbo-speaking states of Abia, Anambra, Imo, Ebonyi, Enugu, and then the Igbo-speaking sites of Delta, which we call Anioma here, and River State, which is Ikwere. The 7 Igbo-speaking states are well represented in Ohaneze. So the intention of setting up Ohaneze and our activities is to make sure that our people feel at home culturally, so that we don't have any cultural disconnect with what we have back home. And we are aligned directly under the leadership of Ohaneze General Body, which currently is chaired by Professor Emoza. So Ohaneze Ndibo South Africa, apart from being a cultural organization, it's also a social organization, because we promote social cohesion among all the participating states, and also interact and interface with other organizations of Nigerian descent, like your Arewa, like your Oduduwa, Northern, Middle Belt, South. So we correlate with them, and also not forgetting that we have very close relationship with Nigerian missions here in South Africa. I'm talking about the consulate and the embassy. Yes, so we have a very, very strong organization, and every other Igbo social cultural organization aligns itself under Ohaneze.
It's all right. Now, you mentioned some objective of Ohaneze. Okay, now, will you say with what you've had so far, you've been able to meet some of the objectives of forming the association in the first place?
Yes, it is always work in progress. We cannot do enough because we keep facing different challenges every time, every day. But so far, so good. Ohaneze have been able to harness the resources it has within its reach to make sure that we integrate all the Igbos first and then to the larger population, the Nigerians here in South Africa. Because Igbos make up about 80% of Nigerians here in South Africa.
Oh, that's huge. That's huge. But when you talk about Ohaneze, who is the founder of Ohaneze in South Africa?
It is a very checkered history. Ohaneze have a very checkered history. Everybody, when an association is set up, a lot of people lay claim to the foundation and to the formation. But it is on record, based on popular opinion and the history on the ground that Chief Jonas Ndobeze Udeji, Unowundi Bona South Africa, was among the forerunners that I can remember, I can think of, that commenced this organization, this association that has snowballed into a very big organization, umbrella, where every Igbo association runs into when there is rainfall. It has become a very big tree. But to answer your question directly, one person does not find or form an organization, an association, because when you have an idea, it remains in your mind, in your heart, engrafted there, until you bring it out to people to join and to aid their opinion. That is when it becomes an association. So that is why I'm saying that. Hence, I'm saying no one person can say, I formed or I found Ohaneze. But one of the foremost and easily identifiable and verifiable person that you can say Ohaneze, he was in the forefront among the founders, is the person I've just mentioned, Sir Ndubeze Jonas Udeji, Unowundi Igbo, South Africa.
Is that right? And now I would want to, like, for the audience that are not Igbos, you can easily relate to the titles you've mentioned and the organization you mentioned because you are an Igbo man. But we have audience that are not Igbo that want to know one or two things about what you are discussing. Now, I would like to ask, when you say Eze Ndigbo, how does it relate to Ohaneze Ndigbo?
Eze Ndigbo, wherever you go, remember, don't forget that I've mentioned moments ago that whatever we replicate here comes from the traditional setup of Ndigbo as a people. Eze Ndigbo, loosely translated, is the king of the Igbos. But there is this saying that Igbo Enweze. Igbo Enweze, loosely, if you want to interpret it, loosely interpreted, Igbo Enweze means Igbos don't have king. But this interpretation is also laced with suspect because Igbos are very Republican people. Igbo Enweze means that every person is a king in his house, especially in his own household. Igbos, like I've just said, they are very Republican people. They are not people that do eye service nor bow to authorities as such. They question the authority. They have that gift, that zest of questioning every authority. And that is why they say Igbo Enweze. Coming back to your question, Eze Igbo ought to be the king of the Igbos. That is how it is done at home. And even
but now I'm relating it to South Africa, the Eze Ndigbo, South Africa.
Okay. In South African parlance, we have Eze Igbo. And like I said, we replicated what happens back home here in South Africa. We imported it here into South Africa. It was exported from Nigeria and imported into South Africa, just like every other country. That is where we have Eze Igbo here somebody that has supreme authority to give instructions, to give direction to our people, somebody that is very prominent, somebody that has achieved, somebody that has no blemishes, that can stand up and speak, and everybody will actually reason with him. That is why we have replicated it here in South Africa. We have an Igbo here in South Africa. Remember that Ohaneze as the name means the king, the people and the king. That is Ohaneze, the people and the king. There will be no king without the people. So Ohaneze Igbo means the king and the people. Coming here now, as I try to explain to you, there will be no king if there are no people, and there will be no people when there is no king. So the king here we have, that is the Ezigbo. We have that structure well embedded in the constitution of Ohaneze Igbo, South Africa. We have a standing constitution, which copy has been delivered at the Corporate Affairs Commission here in South Africa, CIPRO. So we run our organization of Ohaneze according to the constitution of Ohaneze, which we have also borrowed from the mother body back home in Nigeria that has its headquarters in Enugu State.
Right. In recent interviews we've had with some of your prominent people on Cleveland TV, we had about 2 persons coming out to share that position of Eze Ndigo. Okay. Now my question is, can you clear the air on this discrepancy? How can you have 2 Ezes of the Igbos in a particular country?
I knew this question would come up. For the avoidance of doubt, Ohaneze Igbo South Africa has only one recognized Igbo South Africa, and his name is Eze Emechebe Akoemwebe, His Royal Majesty Igbo South Africa. Other one abe Ezes should just hold on until the end of Eze Akoemwebe's reign. As we speak now, according to the constitution of Ohaneze Igbo South Africa, Eze Akoemwebe remains the supreme leader, Igbo South Africa. People that have, if you have mentioned any names now, then I will tell you the position of those people in our society. So I don't want to jump the gun. If you have records of such people, maybe their names or their titles, then I will address it holistically. But to answer your question professionally, we have only one recognized Eze Igbo South Africa, and that is His Royal Majesty, Eze MJU Akoemwebe, Eze Igbo South Africa.
In South Africa?
Sorry, ma'am, I repeat again.
I'm doing. Okay. All right, I've just gotten permission to mention the name of the people actually contending for that position. And the first one is actually His Royal Majesty Anayo Igwilo, and I think they're on no wall of South Africa or something. I can't remember the name now, but the first one is Mr. Anayo Igwilo.
Thank you so much. For clarity's sake, I can now take it from there. First, let me address the issue of Onowibo. Onowibo has never laid claims as the Igbo of South Africa. Rather, he is the regent. For some years now, Igbo South Africa traveled to Nigeria. He has not been here, and he has not been banished. The Supreme Constitution of Ohaneze Igbo South Africa. When I use the word supreme, that is the constitution of any organization of any country is supreme. Only subject to the Bible as a Christian, maybe, or the Quran for Muslims. The Constitution of Ohaneze Igbo South Africa clearly spells out the protocol and the procedures for changing leadership or replacing the Ezigbo. And until we go through that process, Igbo South Africa, whom I've earlier mentioned, Eze Mechebe Akwenwebe remains the Ezigbo. And Onowu that you've mentioned now is a complete gentleman, a scholar, that he knows the law and understands. He is the founder of Ohaneze and Igbo, South Africa. But that hasn't gotten into his head to proclaim himself as Eze. Whatsoever people discuss under the table and under the bridge flows with the river. But as I'm speaking to you as the chief custodian of Ohaneze Constitution, which I've sworn an oath to defend, Onowu Igbo has not declared himself as this, and he cannot do that because he doesn't have the power to declare himself. It's the people that will declare him the Ezigbo, South Africa. He remains the Onowu Igbo. And in the absence of the Ezigbo, he acts in that position as the Onowu. So in order not to allow any vacuum, since Ezigbo traveled to Nigeria, Onowu Igbo has been fulfilling all the activities hitherto ascribed to the Ezigbo. And that is backed up by the Constitution of Ohaneze and Igbo, South Africa. Because they say nature abhors vacuum. And that is the reason why Onowu assumed a position to fulfill, not as Ezigbo, but to fulfill the functions. Because Eze in Council owns the leadership and the nomenclature of Ezigbo normally comes from Eze in Council. This is a story for another day. For as we speak now, Onowu Igbo is the head of the Eze in Council in the absence of Ezigbo. So people may, for rightly or wrongly, ascribe to him that he's aspiring. But as we speak now, there's no such thing. He has not declared such intention, and that office is not vacant. Now, to the second person you mentioned, Anayo Igwilo. I am so glad that you refer to him as Mr. Anayo Igwilo, not Eze, Anayo Igwilo.
That was a mistake I made there because he actually referred to himself as His Royal Majesty Anayo Igwilo.
I'm so also glad that you say he refers to himself, not that people refer to him. Anayo Igwilo, Mr. Anayo Igwilo, used to be one of the Igwes in Gauteng. Gauteng is one of the provinces that is in South Africa. Gauteng have Johannesburg and Pretoria. Johannesburg being the political capital and Pretoria being the political capital and Johannesburg the economic hub. Like you have in Nigeria, Abuja is the political capital, while every other thing happens in Lagos. Anayo Igwilo was the Igwe of one of the provinces. A province here is the equivalent of a state in Nigeria. He was an Igwe, but he went beyond his capacity as an Igwe. So Ohaneze Igbo sanctioned him by suspending him indefinitely. And this suspension has been on now for years. So he is banished and banned from attending any event that is organized by Ohaneze Igbo South Africa. He is short of being stripped of the office of Igwe Gauteng, which he hitherto held.
Clevenard Business Matchmaker is an innovative social platform that delivers result-driven campaigns and marketing solutions for businesses in all sectors, such as law firms, restaurants, hospitality, real estate, medical finance, manufacturers, beauty, events, retailers. In fact, we are the marketing social platform for everything. A dating site for businesses matchmaking. At Clevenard, we bring together startups and more established businesses together, where you can find people who share your interests, Members can build their profile, send messages, friend people, interact with each other, share interests, and much more. Take a minute to fill in your profile and tell the world about yourself. At Clevenard Business Matchmaker, we know that personalized online identity and business timeline are crucial to the growth of every business. We've designed Clevenard Business Matchmaker to help businesses to own a personalized timeline in just 2 minutes. Easy search functionality. The personalized timeline is designed to feature all your business ideas with complete search functionalities which help users navigate through all your listed services, products, or ideas for customers to contact you directly. Sign up today at www.clevenard.com. It's free.
On your behalf.
So sorry about that for the technical problems. Thank you for joining back with us. All right, Barrister Jeff. Barrister Jeff.
I'm here. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, so sorry about that. Yeah, before we went on the short break, let me call it that now. You were trying to explain the position of His Royal Majesty Anayo Igwilo. Please, let's just take it from there.
Okay. I don't know where we stopped initially, but then it's fine. I have explained, and I'm trying to explain to you that the person you mentioned now, Anayo Igwilo, was an Igwe fully crowned by Ohaneze for Gauteng province, one of the provinces here in South Africa. But like I initially said that there will be no Eze, there will be no king without the people. He contravened some of our set out rules, the constitution of Ohaneze. For that reason, he was fully suspended, not to perform any function as an Igwe for the time being, because of the sanction that Ohaneze placed on him. For that reason, his suspension remains in force. It has been in force for so many years now, and will also remain in force until such a time that the leadership of Ohaneze, the organs of Ohaneze, and the structures of Ohaneze will revoke his suspension. So if he goes around brandishing himself as an Igwe here in South Africa, he is not even Igwe of a province. How much more Igwe in Igbo South Africa? So as we speak now, he is on suspension. He has never been crowned an Igbo South Africa. Nobody has given him that opportunity. Nobody has given him that privilege. He does so from the comfort of his bedroom with his cell phone in his hands. As we speak now, he is precluded, he is banished from attending any Ohaneze organized event here in South Africa. His banishment has been in force before our regime came to be last year, March. The previous regime has enforced this suspension, and we are upholding it until such a time the organs of Ohaneze, the structures of Ohaneze in Igbo South Africa, will come and revoke it. But the way he's going about it now, still claiming to be Igbo South Africa, still impersonating that highly revered office, I do not think that the lifting of the suspension will come so easily and so quickly, unless he takes an introspection by taking some steps backwards and retracting his steps and his comments, especially on the social media. Maybe then, and even then, he may be considered as an Igwe of a province, not as an Igbo, South Africa. What he was before his suspension and his ostracization was Igwe of a province. A province is equivalent of a state in Nigeria. Not Igbo, South Africa. He was Igwe of a province, if you like, a state out of 9 provinces. So for him to wake up one day and proclaim or declare himself as Igbo is very sacrilegious. Hence, we are aware of his shenanigans in the media, social media. We are much aware of it. But the suspension and ostracization that has been meted out to him because of these extravagances still remains in force. So for record, Anayo Igwilo is not the Igwe Ezendibo, South Africa. Thank you.
It's all right. Now, he's also claimed to have formed the group called Mikasa, which is Nigeria Citizens in South Africa. How true is that? And then again, how are you working as an Ohaneze Ndibo? How are you working with Mikasa to make sure that Nigerians in South Africa, they are not in any way in any harm will or the other?
Thank you so much for that question. Indeed, I will not take this away from him. He was quite instrumental in the formation of Mikasa. My own personal, my own very person speaking to you here, I was also instrumental. We had our meetings here in South Africa, at Monte Casino, Gold Reef City, even individual residencies. I was in the forefront of forming Mikasa, just like him. The very document that introduced Mikasa to the Nigerian missions here in South Africa. When I say the missions, I'm referring to the consulate office and the embassy, that is the Nigerian High Commission here in South Africa. I was the person that drafted the document that was sent to them at the onset, at the formation of Mikasa. But shortly after we formed Mikasa, the interim leadership we had then derailed from our set dreams. We formed Mikasa to unite the Nigerians here, not to further divide them. But when I realized that the interim leadership was not focused on that, rather on personal aggrandizement, I immediately renounced and excused myself. What people may say is step aside. I left Mikasa because of this derailment. And up to today, that derailment is still tormenting Mikasa. Mikasa have gone through some minor, how do I put it, some minor changes here and there. But as we speak now, the problems in Mikasa still remain. And those were the problems I saw immediately after we formed it, when I noticed that the people that we put in the interim to steer Mikasa were derailing from our set objectives. I quickly excused myself. It might also interest you that the president of Ohaneze, who were all at the forefront of forming Ohaneze, the current president of Ohaneze, Comrade Wenike Douglas from Rivers State, he has also left Mikasa for the same reasons that I saw earlier, but he left after myself. So Nigerians are actually in dire need of a sincere unifying association. Before Mikasa, there was NUSA. And if the current missions here in South Africa can call both parties, NUSA, Mikasa, to the round table, because they say when 2 elephants fight, the grass suffers. If the missions we have now can take that fatherly role and call both warring factions teams, groups, organizations together. That is NICASA and NUSA. Nigerian Union South Africa, that is NUSA. If they can call them together, I promise you we will achieve more. Nigerian South Africa here will achieve more. But the division is costing Ndi Igbo here in South Africa a lot. Because they say, united we stand and divided we fall. So, but NICASA has been doing their job. They have been doing their things. So far, so good. They have been meeting up with certain expectations, but they will do more if we have a unified Nigerian association here in South Africa. Thank you.
From the responsibility of the consulate in bringing the two of them together to make sure they come to a resolute, whose other responsibility is it to make sure that these wars within the two parties are resolved?
The fight or the power tussle between NUSA and NICASA is an ill wind that has blown nobody no good. We have some of the stakeholders of Nigerians here in South Africa that called across the
Clevenard Marketers is the #1 property guru. We are not estate agents, but we aim to be the platform for property seekers, where they can seek details of all properties available around to buy or sell. We have created a significantly more convenient and effective way for property buyers and sellers to find their next property, up-to-date property information. It is based almost entirely on long-term partnerships and collaborations with hundreds of developers, master agents, and local agents, wealth managers, operating around the world. We act as a global hub for new build development projects and investment properties. Our partner developers promote their new projects and investment opportunities via our marketing platform, which is connected to thousands of professional collaborators, who together form Clevenard. Our network members work worldwide and our partner agents' total client base exceeds 200, registered active investors, and lifestyle property buyers. We are always open to forming new partnerships with reputable developers, professional master agents, and renowned local agents with proven sales records. Join us today by signing up free at www.clevenard.com.
Across the ethnic nationalities have tried to call meetings for a unified front to make peace. But remember that there are people that thrive under confusion. And unfortunately, those people that thrive under confusion have so far had the upper hand. Hence, all the efforts we are putting together to unify both camps has failed. I have to be very honest with you. Remember that NICASA is not an ethnic organization. It's a national organization. Nigerian citizens in South Africa. So also NUSA. It cuts across all the ethnic nationalities here in South Africa of Nigerian descent. It is a bit difficult, not because of the cultural differences, not because of the tribal or ethnic differences, but because of personal and individual differences and egocentric considerations instead of collective considerations. That is why this problem has festered till this moment. But notwithstanding, we have continued to call for peace and for unity. And to top the icing on the cake, the current Consul General here, ED, that has just resumed work some months ago, he has also shown that he is, apathetic. He doesn't support one particular group. Because in his maiden address, he said he welcomed every strata of opinion, every group, as long as you are coming for unity. So we want to allow him time to settle down, and then we'll hold him by his words, so that he will call a meeting, a unity meeting, to unify all the warring factions. And then, and even then, and until then, that Nigerians in South Africa will speak with one voice and confront those that are oppressing us here in South Africa.
So I thank you so much, Barrister. And for the past 30 minutes, we've been discussing Ohaneze Indigo in South Africa. Thank you for shedding light on so many things that we were not actually aware of. And now we've been able to reconcile one or two things and all that. But please, let's hear your last word for this interview. One to the organization itself, and then the second one to Newcastle and then its members.
Let me start with Nikasa. Let me start from where you stopped. That is Nikasa and Nusa. I have said it and I still remain resolute in what I've said until there is a unity amongst all the associations, Nikasa and Nusa. Here, we will not be able to showcase our strength as Nigerians here in South Africa. Apart from maybe Zimbabwe, which is a neighboring country here in South Africa, I think Nigerians are in greater numbers than any other country, migrant countries here in South Africa. We're supposed to use our number, our sheer number, our strength to harness and to pursue things that will, be of help to Nigerians in South Africa. But when there is division, when the two camps are divided, we cannot speak with one voice. An incident may happen in Johannesburg, CBD, Central Business District. Nikasa will go there, issue a different press statement. Nusa will go there, issue a different press statement. Then our host country comes to doubt who are actually the leaders of these people. And until such a time that both Nisa and Nikasa form a united front, will continue to be and suffer at the mercy of our host country here, South Africa. Having said that, the onus, we want to put it on the states of the missions here to call both warring camps together for a peace mission, for a dialogue, and then where do we go from here? That will be sorted. With regards to Ohaneze, Ohaneze Igbo controls about 80% of Nigerians in South Africa, being that every Igbo man belongs to Ohaneze. If you say, because if anybody says he doesn't belong to Ohaneze and it's an Igbo man.
Clevenard Marketers, Events App is a global app/platform for live experiences that allows anyone to create, share, find, and attend events that fuel their passions and enrich themselves. When it comes to special events such as music/movie festivals, marathons, educational, cultural, religious, conferences, community rallies, and fundraisers, to gaming competitions, anniversaries, weddings, birthdays, etc. You want to make them as memorable as possible, and we can help. We're proud to be the top local event promoting network online, and we have experience in promoting pretty much any kind of event you can imagine. We pride ourselves on being professional, reliable, and affordable. If you're ready to start promoting your special event, sign up today at www.clevenard.com to start posting your upcoming events for free on Clevenard Marketers to drive traffic to your event.
It's an Igbo man. Your state belongs to it, and if your state belongs to it, you belong to your state. So, by extension, you're a member of Ohaneze. I want to reach out also to, because we have also mushroom groups that wants to assume responsibility, just like Ohaneze. But benevolently, our people have largely and mainly identified with Ohaneze because we are aligned to the leadership at home back in Nigeria, ably led by Professor Obiozo, whom I have earlier mentioned. He used to be an ambassador. even here in South Africa. So he remains the leader of Ohaneze worldwide. And we, as Ohaneze Igbo South Africa, is recognized by the leadership there in Enugu. So ours as a group, as an organization, as an association, is to embrace every other Igbo socio-cultural organization so that we can be able to achieve more, harness our economic and financial strength for the good of Ndi Igbo here in South Africa. Thank you
for coming on the program this afternoon, and we do pray along that no matter the situation that the parties involved, they are able to resolve their differences for the betterment of Nigerians, the entire Nigerians living in South Africa. Thank you once again, Barrister, for being my guest today this afternoon.
Thank you, my sister, and thank you for having me, and your anchor also, your producers. Thank you so much, the entire crew of Cliffnard TV. You are doing a very great job. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, viewers, that's where we draw the curtain for today. Thank you for staying with us, and till next week when we come your way with another guest on My Opinion, I remain Frank Alidemudia saying, have a blessed day.